Hello, everyone. I have an interesting topic for you today. It focuses on some common misconceptions about traditional Catholics existing either in their own minds or in others outside of our circles. So, let's get right into it. So, the first myth about traditional Catholics: we're not allowed to drink alcoholic beverages, or at least it's somewhat tolerated. It's not seen as, it's not seen in a positive light. I've heard this from several people on the internet who appear shocked that there are liquor stores in St. Mary's. For those of you who don't know what St. Mary's is, it is a small town in northeast Kansas, mostly populated by traditional Catholics attending the SSPX. Now, yes, there are liquor stores in St. Mary's. Furthermore, excuse me. Furthermore, alcohol use is absolutely allowed in traditional Catholic morality. It's not alcohol itself, but how we use it that may become sinful. I'm not sure where this idea came from that we're a bunch of Puritans who aren't allowed to indulge in something given by God for us to enjoy in moderation. This alcohol misconception is especially funny to think about because, in my opinion, traditional Catholics sometimes seem to have a much greater appreciation for liquor than others might. I know many people who love to have a glass of wine with their dinner or in a social setting, etc. It's not just wine either, of course, but in trad households, I've been offered alcohol more often than in non-trad ones. This is just based on my personal experience. Or, this might just be a St. Mary's thing. Maybe this isn't universally a trad thing. I don't know. I might just be kidding. But you might be surprised to learn that some businesses run by trads allow their employees to grab a beer, on a break at work, maybe to help de-stress, or whatever they need. And that's something that is really unheard of in the secular business world. So basically, we enjoy the good things that God put on this earth for us as long as we aim to use them with moderation. Not to get, absolutely smashed and drunk and, just where we're not uh, using our intellects anymore. We're just acting like animals at that point. So remember, we're not Puritans. Remember, even Jesus Christ and his apostles enjoyed wine at social events. Think about the miracle at Cana. You know, so it's not unheard of. All right, so number two misconception is that traditional Catholics sit solemnly and only listen to Gregorian chant for music. Now, let me first make this clear. Gregorian chant is probably the most beautiful and uplifting music you can ever hear in this world. It is not meant to pull at your heartstrings and emotions and make you feel necessarily, good necessarily. That could be a byproduct depending on who you are. But with that now in mind, many of us have a very broad range of music that we like to listen to. Personally, I like classical. I even like some video game music, which to me is very entertaining depending on, the circumstance. Now and then I'll play upbeat music, workout music for exercise and just, various other things. My tastes, are going to be different than yours perhaps, and so will everyone else's. The point is, yet again, we're not Puritans when it comes to music either. The point at which traditional Catholics believe music may become an issue, though, is when the lyrics portray immorality or the sound or beat drives our lower passions wild so that they are no longer in subjection to our intellect and will. Okay, number 3. Traditional Catholic families are a tyrannical system where the husband is the master of the house and everything he says goes. The wife is forced to stay at home and care for the children and whatever other household chores, all against her will. The reality of the general situation is that in the traditional family, the husband and wife are a team. The husband is the head of the household, the wife is the heart. No important decisions are made without both of their inputs being taken into account. Ultimately, it is up to the man to make the final decision on important or spiritual matters, but not without taking her opinions and feelings into serious consideration. Many decisions are made with the wife's influence, not out of manipulation, but respectful conversation. I've seen stupid comments from people talking about St. Mary's, referring to the trad marriages as like a Stepford Wives vibe. I've never seen that before and I had to look it up, but apparently it's a movie about a community where the men control everything and the wives are practically mindless robots who make no conscious decisions for themselves. It's it's ridiculous comparisons like this that are so absurd and untrue that it's no wonder so many people don't even consider the Catholic faith. God took Eve from Adam's side, not his head to be ruler of him, nor his foot to be a stepstool, but his side, making them helpmates for each other, equal in their ultimate purpose in life, and each having different strengths and weaknesses to help each other towards that purpose. Then, number 4, some people believe that traditional Catholics think that they are superior to everyone else and that we look down on those who do not currently have the true faith. Now, leaving human error out of the equation and the fact that, some trads will feel that way, either purposely or by accident, this isn't the attitude we're taught to have. On the contrary, we strive to feel humbled and blessed that we either grew up with or were led to the one true faith. It's our duty to do what we can to help others discover this same path, not because we're trying to force our beliefs and wills on them or because we look down on them, but because we want to share in this amazing truth. Similar to, how a person wants to share great information or advice that they got from others. I once heard a comment from someone talking about a store from around here that wasn't owned by trads and it closed down. They immediately assumed it closed because the traditional Catholics in town don't didn't want to support a business not run by them. Ironically, that thought process involving that situation just exposed their prejudice for trads by assuming these trads were prejudiced against non-trads. We're taught by our faith to love our neighbors in the true sense of the term, to love. And finally, number 5, traditional Catholics adhere to the Ten Commandments and commandments of the Church only because they're forced to do it. Now, Yes, there are rules and laws in traditional Catholicism that we are commanded to follow, to lead a virtuous life, and to follow Jesus' example. That is absolutely true. However, we do not aim to follow them blindly, resenting them or not knowing why we follow them. We strive to truly desire to live by them, to please God, and also because a virtuous life is just, in fact, a happier one. Something that rules and guidelines actually do for those who are following them is help make a habit of whatever talent or virtue that person is trying to acquire. Same goes with moral laws, like the commandments. For instance, while it is easier to just stay home and sleep than it is to go to mass on Sundays, the devout traditional Catholic wants to go to mass, not because it's fun, but because it gives the highest glory possible on earth to God. One comment I heard from someone visiting St. Mary's was that the reason trad families have so many children is because birth control is not allowed here. But the reason the majority of the families here have so many children is because that's the primary end of marriage, which is known and established between the couple well before marriage. Birth control directly wrecks the purpose of the marital act as God created it. Living for self turns out to be an unhappy and empty life. And though people seem to think a large household with many children must be a terrifying place, it is amazing how actually peaceful and happy many of these parents are, and how overjoyed they are at each new life they bring into the world, whether it's number 1 or number 10. As a side note, though, we do not condone as many children as physically possible. God does not command absurdities or that which would ruin the health of mind or body. As we are commanded to take, we are commanded to take good care of ourselves. This is a prudential decision between the priest and the married couple, and I don't need to go into it here. It could take a while. All right. Well, that's 5 misconceptions about traditional Catholics that many people hold. And if you have any others you frequently come across, I'd love to hear about them in the comment section below. So without further ado, have a great Sunday. Hang in there and God bless.